Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenore and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Sagittarius. If Sagittarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so this is a bonus reading for Sagittarius. And our card tonight is the Moon card. And let's go ahead and see what these tea leaves have to say. Okay. And so if you have not subscribed, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell and it'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Okay, so we have a big bowl down here. And so it feels, it immediately tells me that there feels like there's almost kind of a aggressive, like a jet stream, like a channel of aggression just kind of running through your life right now. And I don't feel like it's at the core. I do feel like this is kind of almost on a professional level, or maybe having to do with somebody, you're either working with them or like you're paying them to do something. They're paying you to do something like a gig or a job, or you know what I mean? Like you're not working at the same place. You've hired them maybe. But I just feel like there's this real dis-ease here. And it almost feels, I don't know how to say this aside from when you're around them, there's just a really dark energy. This is somebody that like every time you come in contact with them, especially if it's in the physical world, you're just left with this kind of, there's just a real darkness there. It's not necessarily a sadness, although that's in there somewhere, but I feel like this person almost feels, maybe they remind you of somebody, or I don't know, but they have an energy that makes you feel kind of unsafe, I think. Not that maybe they've even done anything in particular, but they just have a bad energy. But I do feel like the aggression, and it's their way of that's the way they communicate. There is a real sharpness to them, almost an arrogance maybe. They do not feel super respectful, although they are professional in the way that they communicate. And I think it just is something that is very off-putting to you. And I feel like you're repelled by it, but at the same time, you almost feel kind of guilty for feeling this way without any like very clear reason to, kind of, I'm going to stay away a little bit. I don't think that we'll be working together in the future kind of feeling. But then you think, oh, this really, like, I don't have any reason, but here's the thing. Listen to your intuition. Those vibes are there for a reason. Okay. And honestly, if it's wrong, if the perception is wrong, I'm of the mind that it's better to be wrong, and feel bad about that, or maybe you'll never find out. I don't know. But, than to, just force yourself to accept this person in your space and have to communicate with them and then be like totally, wrong and that you continued this, and then there's something that goes absolutely upside down, right? Their behavior or their actions or, you know, whatever it is. So definitely I encourage you to listen to yourself, which I think that you're pretty good at doing. You know, don't listen to the guilt though. Let that guilt go. Listen to your intuition. Okay, let's see. Goodness gracious. So we have a person here who looks like they have maybe a dog on a leash. But again, that aggression I'm seeing. You can see how the arms kind of lift it. It looks like it's like pulling this animal along. And I'm wondering if this is where this kind of triggering energy comes in. And I don't know who it is exactly, if it's like a father figure, if it is somebody, a family member, if it's like somebody within your community. But I feel like when you were young, this is when you're younger, and there is a real sense of, I feel like lacking boundaries of, you know, treating people poorly, including animals probably, and just a rage that almost doesn't make sense, right? And feeling very unsafe, feeling like you always have to kind of pay attention to how the energy in the room is, because it could shift quickly, and there could be like a, you know, just like a blow up, some kind of, you know, meltdown or whatever. And so I almost get this sense of wanting to leave as early as you can. Leaving the house, going out on your own, maybe even starting your own family fairly young, to try to get away from that energy. But the thing is, I feel like it has shown up in a lot of stages of your life, in one person or another. It's something that continues to kind of visit your reality. And I think that happens for a lot of us in one form or another. You know, this idea that we end up finding the things that we have that are, they're negative, they affect us deeply, especially in those formative years. We find them in the rest of it. We find a way to find them, even if we realize it or not. And we think, why are we always dating the same person? They all behave the same. Why does every friend I have end up being this way? We have a great ability to seek out people, situations that will continually try to give us the same lessons. Now, that is not to say being mistreated or abused or anything like that. That is not something that I would say. None of us look for that, right? But for one reason or another, maybe it's because it's what we know, you know, and it feels familiar. You know, for me, when I was a kid, I was abused. I was essayed over, and that's how I have to say it on YouTube. And also it's triggering to some people. So what I'm about to say is maybe hard to hear. But I was abused, and for a prolonged amount of time in my childhood. And it was obviously devastating. It was it is one of the great torments. Is probably number one. And I laugh because, it's hard. It's hard to talk about, and I could easily start sobbing here. We are dealing with this lunar energy. But, I found that as I got older and I got, into my young teenage years, and I'm dating people, and I would end up with people that were, older than me, and situations that, looking back, I can't even believe that I found myself in these situations. And they were traumatic in their own right, a few of them. And, but, I had to look at it through therapy, a lot of therapy, that no, I didn't deserve any of these things. And of course I wasn't seeking them out consciously, but I found my way to people that felt familiar. And they can like smell it on you. I don't know what it is a cycle that keeps happening, until there's some way to break it. And it's the most important thing that you can do in life, is to find those patterns where they lead you to places that you absolutely don't want to be, where you don't belong. This is not for you, but this is an ordeal of life. And it is one that can be a great terror. Here I go crying. And it can feel impossible. It could feel impossible, monumental, just something that there's no way to get away from, no way to not only escape the cycle, escape the continued pain and traumas, being re-traumatized. But there is a way. And it almost, it's a miracle, because a lot of people never figure it out. A lot of people never find that little space, because sometimes it's just a fleeting moment, a one decision. And you have to decide, okay, this is enough. I gotta do something else. And the work that comes after that, the work is immense, and it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. And I'm not trying to tell you not to do it, but you marry yourself to this work. And we all have our things. It doesn't have to be abuse, overt abuse or what, but we all have our things, and it's all relative. We all, you can think of something, right? We all can. And processing, integrating, it is one of the great miracles. If you can continue that path, you can stay consistent in it, finding the way, whatever that looks like, if it's therapy, counseling, religion, spirituality, art, creativity, running, I don't know, rowing a boat, across the ocean. I don't know. You know, something. Finding something. Or a great many of somethings. But my goodness, this lunar energy, she, you know, sometimes is like blamed for the illusion, for being misguiding, for leading in the chaos of emotion and emotionality. But she also, she's the cover in which we escape in. She is that night that calls us out and embraces us, allows us to walk the path without being seen. She is the mystery. She's the mother. She's the one that's going to always, always show up for us. Even in those dark places. But that's it. She makes that available to us so that we can, you know, if you can think about it, I mean, just if you were escaping a situation, running out at high noon when all the shadows are just, you know, gone, when everything is there to see, when everybody can see it, I don't know, I might hide. I might stay right where I'm at. But when that moon is out and those shadows are long, there's places for me to, you know, maneuver. I'm going to go. She is the tide that pulls us out of our place of comfort. And it doesn't, you know, we find comfort even in the most desperate situations. And sometimes we stay in them because we don't know what else to do. We can't even conceive of a world outside of what is happening right here. Especially if it's something that is continuous and patterned. And we get into a place where we think this is all there is. There's nothing else. I can't get away, you know. But that moon, that lunar energy, she's there. And that's why I like when she comes around. And I also am like, oh no, I'm going to cry tonight. Something. These poor people. They're going to have to listen to it. So we have an A right here, and I have to point this out. We have this kind of almost, it looks like a satyr. You can see the head looks like it's kind of dark and hairy. Then the body, it almost looks like a, you know, like a bear torso. And then we have the kind of furry legs. And so this kind of it's a very primal kind of, a primal, chaotic, instinctual kind of movements. But it is kind of like the shaking off of this, this energy that we get when we have been victimized. You know, and we are kind of forced with this self-concept of being a victim. And it is one of the hardest things to let go of as an identifier. But when we get into these kind of wilderness spirits, these wild and chaotic energies, there's no room to hold on to these limiting ideas we have of ourselves. Now, that's not to say that being a victim, we just say, I wasn't a victim, I'm not a victim. And that somehow negates the things that have happened, right? And that's not to say that if you feel and you identify as a victim, that there's anything wrong with that, because, nobody can tell you that, there's anything wrong about that. And we go through periods of time where that is a truth, and it's at the front of our minds, and we feel, there's plenty of times I feel like I have been a victim in a lot of ways, and I have, and sometimes I have to look at that and I have to console myself. I have to meet myself with empathy and not be, suck it up. It's, you've done a lot of work. It's time to stop thinking about things in these terms, because I can say that to myself, and it's not helpful. But at some point we also have to figure out how do we get out of this mode of thinking, because you can heal there, but there's a limited growth. Everything is through that lens, and that's hard. And in a way, it's like carrying on the abuse, because it's still so alive in like who we are fundamentally as people. Okay. And, and so, it's something that's very tricky. I don't even know. I have no idea. I've been in therapy since I was 13 years old. I'm now about 40 years old. And I'll still be in therapy probably till the day I die. And I don't know that I'll ever have any answers. But I do know that there are periods of time when I don't think of myself as a victim anymore. I've done a lot of work to try to take back some power in my life. And dang it, if I don't feel pretty dang good about that when it's happening. Now, there are other times I do. I dwell in it. I dwell in those feelings, and I have to. I need to, to some degree. And there's a reason why I'm there. There's something I have to learn. But we have to have the choice. We have to give ourselves the choice, in the first place. And that's the difficult part. It is. Now we also have, it looks like a sheep. And I'm looking at it, it looks like its head is turned towards the moon. And I do feel like there's a sense of maybe needing some rest. Maybe it's a good time. We do have the lunar energy, so maybe it is a good time to be thinking about giving yourself some extra sleep. I know that when we get into these places of being run down, not sleeping enough, and then the emotional aspects of these kinds of modes of self-work and introspection, it can just absolutely be difficult to kind of manage our emotions and our reactions and things like that. So definitely looking to get some extra sleep. Also, I think that there is a sense of dreams waiting for you. And these could be prophetic. They could have symbols or messages. But I also think that maybe it is just that it is a place where you go to and can explore self in a safe way, or experience things that are sentimental and loving and supportive. They help fortify you so that when you are doing the work in your waking life, you have a good kind of surrounding energy. I know for myself when I'm having decent dreams, I'm, you know, getting enough sleep and I'm enjoying, the feeling of being in those dreams and then transitioning into a waking state, and they're still lingering a little bit. I feel so good about life, or at least I feel confident about life, even when I know there's a lot to do or there's, you know, difficult things happening. So definitely look for some of those dream energies, dream impressions. Now we have a fish up here, so stable and maybe even extra money coming in, okay? But at least stable financially right now, okay? And that's a good sign. That is a most welcome sign. Now we have a boat. So there's movement there. Let me look here. We have 9HR. I don't know what that means. 9HR. And then we have 07. We have the boat. 9HR, 07. And we have the boat. So I do feel, you know, there is I feel coming out of this place where, I mean, it feels just, almost, I mean, like a sting, right? In the heart, in the mind, in the heart, in the mind. And I think as these emotions, you are allowing them to visit you and, you know, leave at their own free will. And you're not holding on to them. You know, things kind of start to get back into a place of just feeling pretty good about how you're going about life, you know, doing your thing, feeling confident. And I think that's kind of where that money starts to show itself to you, as things start to move along a bit. You know, and I think and I'm trying to figure out how to say this. And I think that really, you know, it just, sometimes we are presented with these opportunities and they might not be the opportunity that we want. You know, how often is it like, oh yay, I get to like revisit some trauma. This is going to be awesome. You know, like, no, nobody feels that way. But I do feel like sometimes it's like we're invited into these places in our mind, our spirit, our psyche. And it is kind of an invitation to lighten the load that you have been carrying all this time. And you know what, as you go through this and it's painful, but you wake up and you feel a little bit lighter, you know, please go get yourself a nice treat. You know, definitely reward yourself, because this isn't the work we get paid for, but this is the work that we must do, you know. But in a way, yeah, the money does, I really do. And I am very superstitious, I guess. But I do feel like when we have these moments of the Hanged Man, when there's the Death card, when we get through these kind of gateways and we are shedding old skin, it allows for space in our life so that we may receive the blessings that we want and need. Okay, I fully believe that. Now we have the Wild Bohemian affirmation cards, and these are the fire element. I'm just going to go ahead and flip through, and we'll stop where it feels right. And it says, I am here. You are meant to feel eagerness for what is next. Every moment is new. Every moment is new. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I love you, because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And I appreciate you listening to me go on about myself and my things that have happened. And I truly appreciate how loving and supportive so many of you are. I've had comments before where people are like, you just talk about yourself too much. And listen, I know I've talked about it before, this conversation. But I have to say, I really do appreciate, having this place where I can talk about some of the hard things of my life. They're not things that I hide by any means. I mean, they used to be, definitely, but, they're not things that I hide now, but I also don't talk about them all the time in IRL, right? I do appreciate connecting with you all, and for you to allow me, the space to kind of be myself and go from crying to laughing and, serious to not so serious, back and forth. I feel like you spend this time with me, and I want to share parts of who I am and what I've been through, what my joys and sadnesses have been, and kind of, little fragments of maybe kind of show you who you're talking with here, who you're listening to at the moment. And so anyways, again, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, truly. And other than that, and I have to do my little spiel after I just said all that, which seems kind of tacky, but I'll do it anyways. If you haven't, if you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps the channel. It helps with the algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please think about doing that. If you hit the little bell thing that comes up, it'll let you know when the next videos are coming out, and it's free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I would love to hear from you. You all are the best, absolute best. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to bed now. It's getting late. I'm so excited to go to sleep in a few minutes. So anyways, again, I love you. We're going to talk really soon. Good night.